Hello, my name is Jeremy, this is Red Means Recording, and today we are going to be talking about what makes a good chop. What's a chop? Well, a chop is a little piece of a piece of music or a drum loop or something like that that you reconstitute into something else. So, for instance, I have a little kit loaded up here that I've already sort of messed around with, and this is from a song, and I took it and I chopped it up into little pieces. And then you can arrange it into a song. It's a technique that has been around for a long time. It's used in all different kinds of music. I use it a ton in my music, and I've had a lot of questions via lessons as to, well, how do I approach sample chopping and stuff like that? So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm using the MC707 because I missed using it. It's a big, chunky boy, and it's good for this kind of thing. So let's go ahead and start a new project and just jump right into it. The first thing that you need to think about when you're dealing with chops is the source material. And that's going to be something that has some strong identity that you can immediately kind of think about how you might want to reconstitute it or as a groove or something that you just really, really love. And then the next step is to chop it up and make playable pieces out of it. So I'm going to go over to my sound here and go to wave file. I have a whole bunch of little pieces of music that I have loaded up into this. And let's show it with something simple, like a guitar real quick. Great. I'm going to load this up by hitting edit. And now I'm going to be able to slice this. So there is a slicer in the MC707. I'm going to go over to slice, and I'm going to select the medium slice and just have it go to town. This is going to detect what's called a transient, which is the highest point of volume before the volume drops off. It's the sort of like the peak of a drum hit or the peak of, something like that. So now you can see I got little slices here. And if I use the position, I can move around and hear my slices. So at this point, I can start loading them into my pads, but I have to make some decisions. How am I going to make something that's going to be playable and cool? Well, I'm looking for strong chord changes, and I'm also looking for little bits that I can play in between. So that's a good chop. I'm going to go ahead and load that onto here. I'm going to load that onto here. We'll load that onto here. So I'm just making some decisions about what I might want to play. I think that's probably going to be enough for now. Okay, cool. So pretty quiet right now. We'll fix that in a second. Let me go and fix the quiet problem. In the MC707, I can add a multi-effect. So I'm going to go to Shift, Pad, and I'm going to go over to my multi-effects, and I'm going to hit Enter, and I'm going to select the sustainer. Wonderful. Okay, so the other thing that I want to do, and this is something that you can decide you want to do or not, is right now, these will play throughout their whole thing, and they will sometimes clash with each other in terms of pitch. I want really tight little chops that I can like really sort of push and reconstitute the groove in my sort of like very staccato way. So that's something you can do by setting up a mute group or a choke group, depending on what your thing is called. So let's go into our pad here. Is it enter? Yeah, pad edit, control, and down here we can assign a mute group. So I'm going to assign that to 1, 2, all of, well, we're not going to mess with those. Now I have a pretty decent chop. Let's go ahead and just sort of play it a little bit. So the way that I did this, I know that these four are in the same sort of chord progression. These are in the next chord progression. And these four are in the sort of third chord progression. So I can think about how I can easily, in a finger drumming sort of style, reach and change the chords and add dissonance and tension by choosing something that's in the next chord group. Go over to slice. We now are sliced. Let's zoom in a bit and see that our bass drum does not start right where it should. So let's go ahead and adjust that. We'll assign that here. Good enough. So we have that same problem where it's really, really quiet. I'm not sure why the preview here is always louder than what ends up on the pads, but again, we're going to fix that with a multi-effect. We'll just use the sustainer again. I don't know. I don't want this to take forever. All right, so now that we chopped up our beat, we can make a little beat with it. That's a very simple chopping of an acoustic guitar. It's really fun to do with Rhodes chords. It's really fun to do with piano chords. It's fun to do with vocals. But let's go ahead and go for a more complex chop now. Let's go for something that involves like a full song. Oh, that's great. That's real good. Now, instead of using the slice thing, I want to make custom slices by using in and out points here because sometimes the slicer is just not super good. I'm also going to normalize this to 0. So I can make it peak at the highest amount that it could be, because I want this to be not quite as quiet as it has been. I love it. Put that up here. And then let's grab that crazy modulation here. Probably is going to be enough to work on for this chop. No vocals, so we're going to call that good. Let's go ahead and do that same thing we did before, where shift, multi-effects, and get our sustainer on. And do our choke group, our mute group. So the other thing that people sometimes like to do is just pitch their things a little bit. So let's go back into this, and where it says coarse, let's just go ahead and turn this down just to give it like a little kind of like sampled feel. You want it to feel sampled. And sometimes you'll have to do this to get it to fit the timing. And obviously we need some shuffle because that has no life to it without it. All right, let's go back to our chop kit and let's turn that down. So you can hear that it's, if I wanted to like sort of lag on this, it's not quite slow enough. So let's go ahead and pitch this down even more. So right now I know I have some keychains up here, but I don't like how little I have to work with over here. So I would have preferred to probably get rid of the second, like these two are the two same, and I probably want to put some hits over here that were extremely different. And I can, you know, So by changing these up to like a fifth or a fourth above our main one, we got a whole nother progression out of it that we could really, really lean into for giving some cool change here. Because the whole idea here is that you're taking somebody else's hard work and reconstituting it from a rhythmic or and also melodic perspective. You're reconstituting and reorganizing the chord progression. You're creating a new rhythm out of it, and hopefully you're having some fun. So that was a chop with a more complex thing with stuff that had in it, like a piano with actual lines in it. Let's move on to like a full song now. Oh, that's good. That's real good. I want something with like all the stuff in it. And that had all the stuff in it. We'll see if that works. Give us that post game. I think we're going to want to pitch this down. So let's go into our course and do 2. I actually really like pitching things up too, but only if I have access to time stretch. That's pretty good. That's wonderful. All right, friends, it's chop time. Let's see what we got. This is actually kind of a tough chop. I got too many little things with vocals in it. I got too many little things that aren't really like pushing the progression forward. So what will we run into? Well, we thought we were making the right chops, but we didn't grab enough little chord progressions or changes, and everything we grabbed had a vocal in it. So let's go into our kick drum and give ourselves a 4 on the floor kick drum for both things here. Alright friends, well that is my video on chopperoonies. I hope that it's been decent for you. I'd love to do another couple of these. I might actually record another one right now and release it later. I hope this has been fun for you. I hope that you've learned something. If you have any tips, tricks, questions, any all that good stuff, put it in the comments. Check the video description. There's all kinds of fun information there. And yeah, my name is Jeremy. This is Red Beans Recording, and I hope you have a wonderful day.